Hello, and thanks for watching this short video. It focuses on the QuickBooks Online Windows app or the QuickBooks Online Mac app, as you can download these apps on the particular operating system that you use. Now, I'm not discussing the actual QuickBooks app you download on your phone or tablet that does not have the full spectrum of feature sets as QBO in the browser does. We're discussing basically the Windows app itself because it does have all the feature sets of the browser, but if you're so used to desktop, this might be the way to go for you as you're assimilating QuickBooks Online in the browser, which is very different from the desktop experience. So you can go to quickbooks.intuit.com/apps and just take advantage of this free download. It's free for anybody that has a login to QBO, whether you are a staff member of a QBOA or the owner of a QuickBooks Online accountant, or even your client has a QuickBooks Online subscription and they just want a more desktop workflow with navigation, then they could download and install it. Just have this little QuickBooks icon on your desktop, right? I installed it already. It takes a couple minutes. See, there's my Premier Accountant. Here's my Enterprise. They all look the same. So maybe you want to right click and rename it and just call it QBO. Either way, but one of my favorite things is that you can stay signed in. So when I sign in, I'm going to show you the sign in page, but when I sign in, on a normal day, it brings me right into my QuickBooks Online account. So you just double click on it, and here's the sign in page you'll be brought to. It's as if you're signing into the browser, but it's not the browser. The data is still on Intuit servers. However, it's an app that I've downloaded and installed. There is no offline mode. However, there is a checkbox to stay signed in. So if you're used to desktop, when you close out of a file, you come in the next day to work and you open up QuickBooks, it brings you to the last file you're in, or at least hopefully just to the No Company Open window, right? Very similar. So I'm going to go ahead and click sign in, and you'll see all the company files, the QuickBooks Online realms that are linked to your email address. And what I usually do is just go right into my QBOA. And if you're a staff member of a QBOA watching this video, that's what you're going to do too. Just look for the name, not of the actual QBO client file, but the actual name of the QuickBooks Online Accountant firm realm. I'm going to click Open Company. Now, much like accessing your QBOA from the browser, like Google Chrome, you're going to see all your clients, and you're going to see the same stuff. You're going to see the firm name, your name, and how many clients you have access to, clients, team, pro, advisor, all the same stuff, the ability to add a client, etc. But let's look at it when you go into the client file. All right, so I'm going to go into Katie's company here. While it loads, look up top. You see these drop-down menus, and that would be a difference versus QBO on the browser. Like the first thing I'd like to point out. So I'm dropping into the file just like I would from a browser. I don't necessarily have to use the left-hand panel or the plus sign for transaction entry or the gear icon for operational or list stuff, right? I can actually click this little hamburger button. It'll collapse the left-hand panel. And now I can use the drop-down menus. So you have File, Edit, Create is a good one to start with. That has all the transactions. And there's way more keyboard shortcuts like desktop. They're not the same ones. Like a check is Control-K, not Control-W. If you're used to that, Control, then a letter, this will be familiar to you. And you can find more of the desktop shortcuts under the Help menu. Just download this PDF. So created the transactions, right? The plus sign basically. Company would be the gear icon, the operational settings. Navigate is going to be the left-hand panel, and reports is reports. And I know we only show 6 or 7 reports here, but you can go to all reports if you want. When you launch something from the drop-down menu, it launches into its own window. So here I have a profit and loss, and it's, like a half-size window, which you can expand or minimize or even move on to another monitor, which is what I kind of like. All these things will open in their own windows. So that's kind of your open window functionality, if you will. I'll also go to a balance sheet. I'm going to launch that. So now I have the balance sheet up. And as well, I could go to create and then launch a journal entry or do Control J, and that'll open its own window. The other way that you can do this is if you click on the plus sign and you want to go to like a check, notice this little kick out icon, and this will launch the check in its own window. And as that check is coming up, when I go down to the system tray, here is my open window list. You see I have the main QuickBooks page, 2 reports, a journal entry, and a check. And the nice thing is you can do the Alt tab as well. See, journal entry, there it is. And then I go to one of the reports, etc. Now, the other big benefit of the Windows app over using QBO in the browser, because in the browser, if I go over there quickly, I can also use multiple tabs. I can click on reports, when I'm in QBO and Chrome and I have a profit and loss here, right? And you guys probably know this trick already, but you can right-click duplicate and it'll put a P&L in the next tab, and now I can go to a balance sheet. And this is my open windows using the browser. And I can even do something similar with like a journal entry, kind of like the scenario I have in the Windows app. But if I right click on the journal entry, open a new tab, right? So you can have as many windows open as you need to. That's how you get open windows in the browser. It's just using tabbed browsing. However, if I was to do this journal entry, let's say, and it impacts one of the reports in the other tab, I have to force the refresh. There's not an auto refresh like there is that preference setting in desktop. But the Windows app itself does have that. So I have this, service consulting revenue 1714.40 for today. I'm just looking at the P&L for today for this example. Let's just do a quick journal entry for that. So I'm hitting, consulting revenue sub account, and it should refresh the P&L when I click save and close. See, went right to 1914. So that auto refresh is more akin to desktop, and that's probably one of my favorite features other than staying signed in of the Windows app itself. So those are the main feature sets of the Windows app. And if you're really a champion Power Desktop user, definitely consider downloading this. It's free as you absorb this new platform and get used to QuickBooks Online.